I have to, like for crab, I have to crack it open.
You're just lazy.
I'm just lazy, yeah. I'm lazy in
So
that sense.
if everything's already served and open, would you eat it?
Everything.
See?
If I
That's
can
not picky eating.
If I can chew the plate, I will chew the plate.
So how do we meet the nutritional requirements for picky eaters? I really need to take notes because I do have a toddler and a 9-year-old who's kind of a picky eater. So let's find out the answer with senior nutritionist who's already with us today, Jennifer Vidya. Good afternoon, Jennifer. Thank you so much for coming.
Hi.
Did you hear that sigh?
The sigh is basically because I'm a mother of a picky eater. And I know that a lot of mothers can resonate with this. This is the nightmare of a mother. Luckily, my toddler isn't really a picky eater, but I have a 9-year-old who is a picky eater, and it's very challenging. But to those who are not really sure what picky eaters are, could you please explain why people become picky eaters? I've heard it's a sensory thing, and then there's like the psychological conditioning thing. So how do they become picky eaters?
Okay, sure. Actually, there are really different factors about it. But first thing first is actually throughout, I wouldn't say it's a trauma, but it's just like a very negative experience for them. Like to eat something. Like maybe they've been like through a very big pressure of eating some certain foods that could actually affect them.
Like rice 3 times a day?
Yeah, maybe.
Forever?
For certain
Or
people.
usually vegetables.
Yes.
Vegetables.
Vegetables. It could be actually affected by genetics as well. So genetics, but that is to certain sensory sensitivity. For example, maybe there are some people who is quite sensitive to maybe we could say bitter flavor. Maybe because of that they tend to not like vegetable that it's bitter. But
like bitter gourd.
Yeah, that's why. But
broccoli.
That could actually change along time.
Yeah.
That's just like a few factors about that. Yeah, but most of them will actually change along time.
I remember when I was younger, I cannot condone
Spicy.
I can't know the word right now. No, I really can't. It's just my tongue was so resistant to anything that was spicy. Even the smallest amount of spicy, I can't. Even till this day, I'm a little bit better at it, but still not okay. So that was one of the things that was really, really difficult for me because
so that is actually possible for someone who develop a certain level of sensory when it comes to taste. Like I might be quite tolerant for spicy, but not her because her palate is like,
sensitive to pain, maybe.
to spicy and stuff. But okay, so I heard about this theory as well about the eating habits of pregnant women. Does it affect the children to become picky eater?
Well, that is, I will say it's kind of a myth. It's not like 100% fact.
Okay.
Because they're usually like, when the pregnant woman, where the mom likes spicy food, the children tend to like spicy food as well.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
That's usually like the story, but it's not like 100% true. But it could actually relate to the genetics. So maybe the mom likes spicy food that time, and eventually, for sure, the kid has her DNA, so she will also like spicy food.
It's definitely a myth in my family. My mama is crazy about spicy. There is no single kid in my family, my 3 sisters, none of us really like spicy the way she does. So I can attest. But it's interesting, right? Because there's also theories that says you need to eat as many different kinds of food to expose them in the womb to different kinds of tastes as well. Is that true?
Well, a little bit, I would say. Because sometimes the babies in the womb, they will actually have a very slightly taste of what we eat. So it's similar with like breastfeeding as well.
Yes.
So sometimes the mom will eat, like for example, like there's a lot of myth that's saying like you shouldn't eat spicy food when you're breastfeeding because your baby will taste the spice. Well, they will only taste like just like a very small percentage of the taste, but it won't be as spicy as the food that they eat. But
the baseline of the taste is there somewhat.
But also the problem is you will most likely need the nutrients from foods. From all types sort of food that you can get.
I have my notes ready here because I'm about to take notes.
Oh yeah?
Whatever it is that you're going to answer.
And when it comes to picky eating, sometimes you don't pay to certain nutrients that contain in the food that you might need. So what are some common nutritional deficiencies among picky eaters?
well, for sure, picky eater, especially children, they usually avoid like, you know, if the food has a specific flavor or specific, like just now when we told the textures, the smell, so we couldn't actually say this kid or all the picky eaters will have this kind of deficiency.
So it depends on what they don't want to eat, right?
That's why. Like maybe some kids don't like meat, maybe some kids don't like fruit and vegetables. But generally, they will avoid fruits and vegetables, as we know. So a lot of them actually has deficiency in dietary fiber. For sure, fruits and vegetables. Yes, they have like they're one of the source of like fiber for sure. And also certain vitamins and minerals like zinc, iron, selenium, even vitamin D as well. So they usually tend to have those kind of deficiency as well.
So if you have picky eaters, do you then give supplements of what you think they're lacking, or do you somehow find different ways to cook these foods? Because I tried that last night.
Oh, you did?
I have no idea why my kids just are going. My baby is going through a phase where she hates all vegetables. She doesn't usually. So I make. Usually we make smoothies and I enter the vegetables in the smoothies.
That is clever.
Or what I tried yesterday was both of my kids hate broccoli, and I created broccoli fries with cheese dip, so they just don't know that they're actually eating broccoli. So is it better to go that way or just give supplements of the things that they're lacking if that is not possible?
I think it's actually better to let them eat those foods. Like, however you want to process it, however you want to cook it, experiment it. I mean, I do like the smoothies one, and especially the fried broccolis, even though I prefer it will be baked.
Air fried, sorry.
Oh, air fried.
So it's baked.
That's much better.
So it's not deep fried, sorry. Air fried.
And yeah, I think I will go there because supplement, I think it's better to consult it with like health professionals first, because we cannot actually judge like there's going to be this deficiency of vitamin without we knowing what they're eating every day and without we testing them through labs. Because I mean, it's better to actually go through like the foods they don't want to like and see if there's any solution, like you've experimented just now.
So one of my questions would be, are there any certain health hazards that we should watch out when they're actually lacking a certain nutrient?
Yes.
Like what happens if they're lacking iron, for instance? Just the first two signs. Or
is there
what happens if they're lacking dietary fiber?
Or health conditions?
Symptoms.
Yes.
For children especially, if they're not gaining their healthy weight, because children start growing really fast, right? And especially through weight. We usually see them grow through weight and also height. And if they're not growing as what their peers are growing to, maybe we could actually see what kind of deficiency nutrition they have. But usually it's those that through physical, but there's also non-physical one. Because kids supposed to be active. They're supposed to like play around, talk a lot, like ask a lot of questions. But if they're going to like the passive way, they're not going to be that active, maybe we can see first, because there could be a chance of like malnutrition and some thyroid nutrition as well. So but I don't know, adults also can have those. So if adults, usually if they're, for example, iron deficiency, if they're feeling like really tired daily, even though they have already enough sleep, they drink a lot of water, but they still feel tired every day, maybe it could be a sign of like iron deficiency.
So, okay, what are the strategies to expand the food variety of picky eaters while assuring that their intake of necessary nutrients is actually being fulfilled?
Okay, the tips and tricks.
Because one of our friends, Maria Harfanti, has this problem with her toddler. Because her son is not, as actively eating the things that she cooks and stuff like that. Not as easy.
Not as easy. Okay. Maybe I think we can take an example to be easier. Like for example, broccoli, your children. First thing first is just do it step by step. I mean, there's no way there's like in overnight they're suddenly going to wake up and they're going to like broccolis. There's no way that's going to be happen.
It takes process.
Yeah, the chances are very low. So it's better to do it step by step and don't give it like them in a whole broccoli matters. Like do it like maybe finely chop it, make it really small, or maybe mix it with like smoothies or juice, I think it'd be great as
The
well.
thing that they don't realize is broccoli. They consume it because usually it's in the mind, right?
Yeah,
What I realized with my children, even the older one, the first time I introduced her to just green juice, she was like, "Oh, I actually like this," and I was like, "You actually hate eating all of that." Really? I don't know. From personal experience, I think it's very important for us parents to want to experiment, you know, and to do the research to try different things. Because I've seen, can this actually ruin the relationship with food for the kids? Because I know what I learned is. Through my kids is that if I don't have the willingness to experiment and I force these foods on the kids in a way that they don't like it, it's higher likely they become even pickier. Is that true?
Yes.
And it actually could ruin their relationship with the food.
Yes, because it's gonna be like a bad experience for them, right? Like for example, the kids doesn't like paprika and bell pepper, and like they're suddenly here, eat it and eat it raw. Like for sure they're not. Yeah, they're going to
I would not eat a raw paprika in that case.
So good.
It's so good, actually.
It's so good.
It's sweet.
That was my food.
With hummus. I would eat it with hummus.
Yeah. That's why, and actually it's better to, like your way is like to make it like hidden. That's why being parents is like trial and error stuff. All the experiment, all the recipe searching is really, and it's like a lot of effort for it for sure.
You know the irony? I spoke about this in on the radio just today. I said after what I did last night, I was like, I want to give my hats off to all the mamas, and I'm saying this again because it is so not easy to have to deal with children, because if the children are not eating, we're the ones stressed.
Yes.
Because we know that they're not getting these nutrients.
But what I want to ask is, what is actually the common reason behind hating several foods, like a certain foods in your experience
the
as
most
a
common
nutritionist?
one.
The most common is it the texture? Is it the look of the vegetables, or the look of the food, or what?
Okay, first is maybe the texture and the smell. Weirdly, they can sense the smell of vegetables in it. Like they just can, like, especially if it's like not really cooked, they could actually, like, for example, spinach, like they could smell it.
Oh,
yeah,
I understand.
and that's why. And lastly, weirdly, is color. I don't know, I find a lot children don't really like the white colors, like beige color, you know, those kind of stuff. Even sometimes green, they see green and they won't even touch it. There's a lot of cases like that. And weirdly, there's not enough reason why it could happen. It could be just like possibly their parents tend to don't really like, it's really funny that if the children is not really like introduced with texture food earlier, or like greens food, they tend to like will not really hate it, or they have like a big tendency to be picky eater when they're older.
You know, I want to ask you something, because you're a nutritionist. When my baby was about to start eating, so about 5 months, 6 months, I mean, she started sitting early, so I had the chance to introduce her to food a little earlier because she started sitting early, at 4 months actually. So I considered a lot of different options. The classic Indonesian options, as you know, start with very fine food.
Sift.
Sift and things like that. But I actually took the risk of combining with, you've heard of baby-led weaning, right? So basically, it's not fine food, just babies cooking it fine enough to just literally see pumpkins, grab it, and eat it by themselves and things like that. And so that's texture in their head. So what is your opinion about this? Does something like this actually help kids develop this familiarity with textures and different tastes and smells, perhaps?
Yeah, it's going to help a lot. I'm gonna be honest, because usually babies don't really know do they like the food or not, usually in a very early age, but they explore. And the older they get, they will know, like, I don't like this. I don't really want this color.
It's because they feel uncomfortable with it. Maybe they're not used to it. So we have to get them used to it as the early.
Yeah.
Dude, it's hard to have kids.
It is.
Lucky I'm single.
But you know what? We're going to continue speaking to Jennifer about this. But see, the stories will continue after the break. So don't go anywhere. We'll even play a little game after this. Stay tuned.
Yes. Even